The attendance was a little bit lousy on Friday. About 11 of you were here. So I had said if you watch the video before class today, I would give you credit. So if you've already watched it, please email me. If you haven't, I can't correct the absence, but please watch it anyway. It's a very important lecture. Also, if you were one of the few and proud who was here on Friday, you are given a pass. So that's a little incentive for coming to class when no one else is here. But hopefully you've all had a chance to watch the video. Let me say a few words at the midterm first. The midterm is on Wednesday, and here's how I'm going to do it. This is new. I've not done this before, but I think it will work better. In the past, I've used the exam software with the blind grading, and it creates just too many headaches or just too many delays. I want to get these graded by the end of spring break. I need every day for that to happen. So what I'll do is at some point before the class begins, maybe around say 10 o'clock, I will email you two things. I'll email you the exam. It'll just be a PDF. It'll be one of my old midterms. I won't tell you which one, but it'll be one of the old ones. If you want to practice, I strongly encourage you to take one under time. Take 90 minutes, because if you don't, you're going to be walking in ambushed. Don't take this exam cold. If you've never taken one of my exams before, it's going to be a waste of your time. You need to really take one beforehand. It'll make it so much more meaningful. So around 10 o'clock on Monday, I'll email you the exam question PDF. I will also send you a Word document, which I'll just use as a template. Please just type your answer into my template. That way, it's easier on my eyes. We have only one font size. We have only one font color. We have people use different crazy fonts. It'll drive me nuts. So just use that document. It'll be simple. It'll just be basically your name at the top. Question 1, question 2, question 3, question 4, question 5. If you could just name the file your first and last name, Josh Blackman. Actually, even better, just your last name. I don't need your first name. That way I can just sort them alphabetically. Just name the file your last name, and email it to me. I'll include my email address. It's not my South Texas. It's the Josh Blackman account. I'll have a filter. So again, I'll send you a template. Put your file name as your last name. Send it to the address I explained. That is much simpler than using the exam numbers, because it's a pain. Every year I try it, and it just creates delays with getting the numbers and stuff. So I just skipped it this year. On the syllabus, which I'll screen share in a moment, I'll give you a link also for. On the syllabus, I have all of my old exams. There's no secrets. I'm not keeping anything secret from you. I strongly encourage you over the next 48 hours to take one of these old exams under time. Why? There are a few distinct features of my exam that you may not be familiar with, one of which is a word count. The word count for the entire exam is 1,000 words for the midterm, 1,000 words total. Why do I have a word count? It makes it fair to grade. Some of you can write 4,000 words in an hour, and other of you can't. Some of you just vomit everything you know on the page and hope you stick some points. It's like throwing a bucket of spaghetti on the wall, hoping some of the meatballs stick, right? You don't really know, but you just throw everything there. I know how that works. I did that myself in law school. That won't work for me. You have to give me the right answer, not just everything you know. If you just dump your outline, you're not going to do well. So it forces you to think very carefully about what the right answer is and what the right answer is not. 1,000 words total. There are 5 parts to the exam. Here, let me just bring up the one from spring of 2018, just so you can see it. There's 1,000 words total. Oh, sorry, that was my final. Wrong one. There it is, midterm. Sorry. 1,000 words total, 5 parts. That means roughly 200 words per part. You don't know what 200 words is. You may think that's a lot. It's not. It's a few sentences, maybe 5 or 6 sentences. You need to do a sample exam to get a feel for what 1,000 words is. If you go over 1,000 words, I stop reading. In Word, there's a word count feature. It's very easy for me to do a word count. I know immediately how long your answers are, so please don't go beyond it. So here's the exam. You get instructions. You have to write a memo of 1,000 words. So I think there's a Harry Potter question from years ago. I will tell you if you're in a common law jurisdiction or a modern jurisdiction. That's very important. There have been some points a semester where the rules vary, common law versus modern law. So you have a fact pattern and a question. You have a fact pattern, question number 2. I think this is a future interest question. Fact pattern, question 3. Fact pattern, question 4. And question 5 is a policy question. Question 5 is always about policy. It's something about, why do we still follow law from the Middle Ages? All right. I would just go ahead and take this one from the 2018 midterm, sometimes today or tomorrow. Take 90 minutes and do it under time. Again, if you walk into this exam cold, you're going to be hurting. It's going to hurt because you won't know what hit you. It's really for your advantage to do this. They've been up in the semester all semester. Everything in class through today and Wednesday's fair game. Actually, we haven't. There are no new readings after today. We're done with reading, so whatever's in the midterm is all fair game. All right, Alyssa. Yes, go ahead.
I know this is probably far in advance, but so for the midterm, we have a 1,000-word limit. Is that going to be the same for the final? 2,000 words.
There are 2 exams. I'm sorry, there are 2 questions, each with 1,000 words, so it's double.
Oh, okay. But on the
same, exactly the same. Each question's 1,000 words.
And that you're talking about the final.
The final is double the midterm. The midterm is 1 question with 1,000 words. The final is 2 questions with 2,000 words each.
Okay, and I don't remember if ExamSoft does this, but does ExamSoft show you how many words that you? Okay, thanks.
The answer is yes, but let me explain how. In ExamSoft, there's a little document icon, which will give you a character count. Character count is your letter count, which is the stupidest feature. I don't know why it's there. It makes no sense. If you click the little document icon, it pops up a box that shows your word count. Now, I don't use the exam software for the midterm for a lot of reasons, one of which every semester, bless his soul or bless her soul, someone writes 1,000 characters. That's like 1,000 letters. It's like 4 or 5 text messages, okay? Don't laugh. It happens every year. One of you will do it. I promise you. And I have to fail it, right? Just like... It breaks my heart. So I'm telling you, words, not characters. You have to know what a word count is. All right. Did I answer your question, Lisa?
Yeah, thanks.
Okay, my pleasure. All right. Other questions? But again, really don't walk into this one blind. I know you're all busy. I know you have lots of things in your mind. But for this to be meaningful, take it in advance. The first day back from spring break, not that we're going anywhere, but the first day back from spring break, I'll be going over the midterm, and I hope to answer like 99% of your questions there. That will let us focus if you want to meet one-on-one and what you particularly did right or wrong. In fact, I'm going to do something new this year where instead of giving you a letter grade, which is not very helpful, I'm going to give you a number grade. So let's say you got 8 points on question number 1 and 7 points in question number 2 and 6 points in question 3, but you got 9 points in question 4. You know where you did strong and where you did weak, right? Each of the 5 parts on a scale of 1 to 10. So you know exactly where you got in each one. And I can tell you roughly, if you got about 40 out of 50 points, you're on track for an A. It's not exact, but that's usually how the curve breaks. 35 is usually about a B. Below a 30, you're looking at a C. If you're in the 20s, you got a D. And if you're much lower than that, you failed. So I can give you the rough ranges. They're not perfect because the curve never works in the midterm because people don't always prepare the same. Some people take it really seriously, and some people blow it off, and they just show up and do whatever. So if you ever took statistics, the tails are fat. Usually a curve isn't nice and round like this, but the midterm, it's kind of humpy. It's very flat because people just take it very seriously, or they take it not seriously at all, and then there's not much in the middle. Anyway, that's how it works. But I can give you your rough. I'll mention in class that's just generally rough, but the numbers are far more important than letters. One other point which I do want to make, and I make every year, and it scares the crap out of people. Generally, the grade you get in your midterm is your final exam score. That's true. There's some movement, so maybe you go from a B to a B plus or a B to a B minus. Some people go from a B to an A, from a B to a C, but most people finish where they start. The midterm is an assessment of where you are in the middle of the semester. It's a pretty good assessment. And just in my experience, where you finish is where you start. Now there are exceptions, right? Every year, someone bombs and midterm and says, "Oh my God, Professor Blackman, Josh, please help me. I mean, and I work and we work our butts off, and we get up to a B or an A, right? It happens, but that's the outlier. Most people who get a B in the midterm are like, all right, whatever, I have a B. That's where I am. And people get an A. It's like, why didn't I get an A plus? Yeah, but then there are the C's and the D's. Those are the ones I worry about, especially in your 1L year on Zoom. So if that is you, don't take it as an insult. Don't take it as me being angry. Take that as sort of a wake up call that if you continue on the current path you're on, this is where you're probably going to wind up your final score. So I look, I can only tell you what happens from year to year, and I always compare the final grades to the midterm grades when I get my final grades in, and they're usually in the ballpark. Every now and then a student surprises me, go up. It's like, wow, I really am impressed. The student jumped up. And then sometimes student I was like, what happened? How'd they go far? Maybe they were sick or something something happened at home. There's some reason why their grade dropped so much. But most people stay where they are. And if you're happy with the B, then you'll be happy with the B. If you want the A, then you have to work for it. One last point. You guys are in your second semester. The grades shift a lot after the first semester. The first semester of law school, I find that the advantage goes to those who know what they're doing, right? Those who've had lawyers in their family or have had friends that went to law school, they have a sense of what to do. There's less of a shock and awe. My first semester, I was a top 50% my first semester. I didn't know what the hell I was doing. I had no clue, not a clue. But then the second semester, everyone sort of catches up, right? Those who had the sort of cushy advantage sometimes slack a bit. Like, oh, I got this. Then they fall. And those who were working hard, but were working not smart. I didn't work smart my first semester. I was doing stupid study habits. They catch up. So the curve, the class ranks, they tend to shift a bit after the first semester. So don't think because you did really well your first semester, you can get the same this semester. It's no guarantee. People are hungry. They know what they're doing now. They're going to catch up to you very quickly. Again, because it's Zoom, maybe my history doesn't follow. Maybe there are other factors, but things do shift around. So don't be complacent. Don't just sit on your 1L first semester grades because those are not set in stone. All right. It's true. I can only tell you what's happened in the past. Maybe everyone has different experiences, but I can only tell you how I've seen things in other classes. Yeah, Alyssa, go ahead.
I don't know if you would know the answer to this, but you mentioned you're not going to curve C1 and C2 together this semester.
No, I'm not.
Do you know if you're the only one who's doing that, or if everyone?
I have no idea. No, and this doesn't sound mean, but you're a different class with different students. When I did the makeup sessions, I considered doing a single makeup session for both classes. I decided against it because you're different classes. You're not. I mean, you are, but you're not. It's every group of students is unique, and you learn as a group. And I think it would have been bad to merge. I thought about it. And I decided against it. It would have been easier for me for sure, but that's usually not your concern. Yeah, it's like whatever. Okay. All right. Anything else? A curve with 35 people is fine. That's not a problem. I had a law school class with 4 people, and the professor curved. I was not happy. There was 1 B plus and 3 Bs. I was not happy with that curve. I was pissed. It's my lowest grades in law school. I was not happy about that. But you can curve. All right. Let's do today. All right. Now, again, I'm going to call on people who were not. I'm going to give a pass to people who were present on Friday. So who am I up to next? Or who do you think is next? Dana, you're here. Is it Dana or Dana? I've been saying it wrong all semester.
It's Dana.
Dana, okay, good. I've been saying it right. All right, Dana. Again, if I call on you and you were here last week, just tell me pass. I don't remember off the top of my head. All right, so you're not here. Okay, all right, then good. We're in the right place. All right, Dana. So here's what I want to do. I want to go through our chart, our beloved chart, which we've sweat and toiled over for so many days. Start row by row, and let's try and see if we can fill it in from memory. See if you can fill it in without looking at your notes. Think you can do that?
I hope so.
All right. Well, you get the easy one to start because you're first. Okay. With a fee simple, what is the duration of a fee simple? Again, just don't look at your notes. Just look at this blank chart on the screen.
The duration is forever.
Okay, that's very good. And what are the magic words that would convey a fee simple there, Dana?
to blank and their heirs, or to whoever.
Yeah, A, A and his heirs. Very good. Okay. Who has a future interest here?
The heirs
Of?
of A.
Good. A's heirs. Okay, good. Perfect, Donna. Excellent. Okay. Nazreen, are you here? Okay, Nazreen, let's do the next row, okay? Life estate. What's the duration of a life estate?
For the life of A.
Okay, excellent. Okay, good. And let's try and do this without looking at notes. Okay, life of A. Okay. Now, Nazreen, we said there are two different types of future interest that follow life estate. What are those two types of future interest that follow life estate? There are two types.
The remainder and reversion.
Okay, so we have a remainder and we have reversion. What's the difference between a remainder and reversion?
Well, remainder is for the rest of the life estate, and then reversion goes back to the grantor.
Okay, so let's try this, Nazreen. Give me an example of a life estate followed by remainder.
To be and his heirs.
Well, give me the full thing.
Well, for the life of A, and then to be and his heirs.
Okay, you're right, but just give it to me in the sort of language you've used before. You got the right idea.
What do you mean language I used before? I'm confused.
We use very specific words to suggest a life estate. What are the words we use to convey a life estate?
For the duration of A's life.
What are the magic words to give a life estate? For fee simple, it's A and his heirs. What are the magic words for life estate?
Present interest, that last duration.
What are the magic words? The very specific words. 4 words.
I'm lost here.
Want to check your notes?
Yes. I have a present interest that you have right now that lasts the duration of that person's life.
What are the magic words used to convey a life estate?
A for life.
Now, do you know what I'm looking for?
Yes.
You need to remember this. And I'm not just talking to Nazreen. My general rule is if one student gets something wrong, there are 20 who are also mistaken, right? You need to know this by heart. A for life. Okay, so Nazreen, what would be a remainder following this life estate?
Then to be and his heirs.
What punctuation comes after for life?
A comma.
Very good. A for life, comma, then to be in his heirs. Why is this remainder, Nazreen?
Because he gets the rest of the life estate.
What's the definition of remainder?
Well, remainder is just the rest of the life estate.
That's not the definition we use. What's the definition of remainder?
The remainder is a future interest that follows the life estate.
And
goes to a third party.
what do we have here?
We have a third party B.
A future interest after life estate that goes to a
Third party.
Okay, good. You're not done yet, Nazreen. Give me an example of reversion.
Reversion, like you want the words, the definition.
Magic words.
To A for life.
Anything else? Is there a punctuation missing?
Period.
Period. Okay. Who has a future interest here, Nazreen? Oh.
I'm sorry. Yeah.
Does it say that O has a future interest? Is there any indication that O has a future interest?
No, it doesn't, but it just goes back to the grantor.
Good. And what's the definition of reversion?
Reversion is a life estate that goes back to a future interest that comes after a life estate and goes back to the grantor.
And who's a grantor here?
Oh.
Okay, very good. Thank you, Nazreen. All right. All right. I didn't mean to pick on you, but just you have to be in that alphabetically, so that's where you were. We need to be very careful about this table, right? It's easy to just sit there and look at it So yeah, I get this table. But if you want to do well in this midterm we have coming up in 2 days, you should be able to fill in this chart by memory. Each box, each row by row by memory. If you're not able to do that, then you don't know this topic, right? You need to be able to go forwards and backwards each way. All right. That was Nazreen. Elizabeth, are you here?
Yes.
Okay. All right. You ready for the next row?
Yes.
Okay. All right. Let's see the next row. The fee simple determinable.
Okay. So
what is the duration of the fee simple determinable?
Conditional.
Okay. What does that mean? What does that mean?
It means that it's based on a condition, so it's going to be signaled by words like as long as or
Are those
while.
are those conditional words?
Sorry. Is it while, during?
What's a conditional word there, Elizabeth?
Well, conditional word basically means that in order for them to keep the property.
No.
Durational. It would signal the duration of.
Hold on. I think you said it. What kind of words use for fee simple determinable? Is it conditional or durational? I think you said it.
Durational.
Okay. So which is your final answer?
Durational.
Okay. Yeah. I might let you type the wrong answer before I fix it. So just don't assume if I'm typing on the screen it's necessarily correct. Okay. What's an example of a durational word there, Elizabeth?
So long as.
So long as what else? Give me another one.
Until.
Okay, another one.
During.
Yeah, one more maybe.
While.
Yeah, that's good. Okay, we're good. All right. Give me an example of a conveyance from memory, so you can do that looking at your notes, that involves a fee simple determinable.
This one was the school one.
Good.
So it would be from O to school.
Good.
Comma, so long as.
Good. Yeah.
Paper.
Good.
Is used for school purposes.
Yeah, perfect. Very good. From O to school, comma, so long as black ink is used for school purposes. Now here comes the harder question, Elizabeth. What does determinable mean? Determinable.
Coming after.
That's not what determinable means. You're thinking of subsequent.
I am.
I know you are. What does determinable mean? What does it mean to determine?
Based on a particular time.
Yeah, that's what you want to say. Let me just give you a hint. When you guys see the word determine, think of the word terminate, right? It's the same root word. Determine means to cut short, right? To terminate. Okay, so so try it again, Elizabeth. What do you think a fee simple determinable is?
So a fee simple that is cut short.
Excellent. Oh, perfect, right? So let's look at this, Elizabeth, right? It says from O to school. If I put a period there, from O to school, period, what would you have?
Then it would just be a fee simple.
Excellent. But it's not from O to school, period. It's from O to school so long as. So what kind of fee simple do you have?
A fee simple that is cut short.
Which is called a... What kind of fee simple is it?
Determinable.
There you go. Very good. Thank you. All right. So let me just make this point so everyone understands it. Don't just look at fee simple determinables like this abstract thing. It's a fee simple that can determine, that can cut short. And what's cutting it short? Durational language. It's fee simple, comma, with durational languages. When you have fee simple, comma, durational languages, it's a fee simple that's cut short by duration. In this case, so long as. Okay, Elizabeth, you're almost done. You're almost out of the woods. What do you call the future interest that follows the fee simple determinable?
A possibility of reverter and fee simple.
Okay, very good. That's right. And by the way, the ones, let me do my screen share. I'm sorry, I apologize. Someone usually yells at me by now. Can you put your screen sharing on? Okay. Possibly reverter and fee simple. And just to be clear, the remainders above are also in fee simple. It's better to write if you do. Okay, these are pairings. When you have a fee simple determinable present interest, you're going to have a possibility reverter in the future. And Elizabeth, last question. Two more questions. I'm sorry. Who has that possibility of reverter in this case?
Oh,
And is it automatic?
yes.
Yes, it's automatic. Okay, now you're done. Thank you. Very good. When you have a fee simple determinable, the future interest is a possibility reverter. You have to just memorize that. And it's automatic. What does that mean? As soon as, let's say, a factory is built on Blackacre, Oscar O will now on Blackacre in fee simple. He'll have to go to court for sure to try and exercise his rights and evict the current tenant, but it's his. It's fee simple. Nothing new here, my friends. Just adding the same rows as last week. All right. Anyone? Any questions so far? All right, Andrew, you're up, my friend. You here?
I am. I was here Friday, though.
Oh, you are. Oh, you got a good pass. This is a good one. This is a long one. David, are you here? David B?
Yes,
Okay, you were not here Friday, right?
I was not.
All right. Well, you're up, my friend. You can go give Andy a pat in the back after class. If
All right.
you can't actually touch him, actually, don't do that. That would be some sort
That'd
of
be weird.
that'd be a violation of some sort of code. Yeah. Let's do the last row. All right, or the next row, I should say. Fee simple, subject, the condition, subsequent. All right. What is the duration of this present interest?
It's conditional.
Okay.
Words are like provided, but if, however, on the condition.
Okay. Good. Yep. Give me our example of the fee simple, subject, condition, subsequent.
Be like from O to school, provided that if,
Oh no! Hold on! No! I need punctuation.
comma,
Thank you. Go on.
provided that if Blackacre is not used for school purposes, O has right of free entry.
I'm just going to change provided the but if because it's just fewer words, but you're not wrong. Okay. So David, let's work this one out. From O to school, comma. What if I had a period there? From O to school, period. What would I have?
You would have like just the from O to school.
From O to
nothing
school,
else.
period. That's it. All you had.
It would be a fee simple to the school.
Good. But I don't have a period of a comma. And what comes after the comma?
It's the condition subsequent.
Okay. But let's be just plain English. What comes after the comma? What words?
But if.
Okay. What does the phrase condition subsequent mean? Just in plain English. What's condition subsequent?
It relies on a future.
You're working too hard. What does subsequent mean?
After
After what?
the present.
And what's the present interest?
Them having the Blackacre.
You're working way too hard. Fee simple, subject to condition subsequent. Does the condition come before or after the fee simple?
After.
After. Okay. So in this case, O gets Blackacre, right?
Right.
Can he use Blackacre right away?
No, it has to be if it's not used for school purposes.
That's not right. As soon as he gets Blackacre, can he start building a school on it right away?
Can you repeat the question? Sorry.
As soon as as soon as school district gets Blackacre, can they start building right away a school?
Yes.
At what point might they lose Blackacre?
If it's not used for school purposes.
In the future, right?
Right.
So does the condition come before or after they got their present interest?
After.
It's a condition.
Subsequent.
Okay, I want to see that, right? Let me just break out the screen for 1 second. It's very important that you get the difference between conditions precedent and conditions subsequent. We'll do precedent later in class. They're very easy to confuse. But here, you have a fee simple from O to school, comma, but if. The condition comes subsequent to the fee simple. The condition comes after the fee simple. What will you say? The fee simple is subject to the condition subsequent, right? First, you have Okay. First, you have the fee simple, and then you have the condition. Condition subsequent. Later, we will do the opposite, a condition precedent, where the condition comes before the interest. Here, it comes after. So to use the example I gave last week, this is like saying to my daughter, I'll give you your allowance, but if I find out you're not doing the dishes, you have to give it back to me, right? She gets some money up front. Smart girl, right? Always get paid up front, as lawyers say. But if I find out she wasn't doing her chores, I can take the money back. David, you see that? Okay.
Yes.
What is the future interest? Fill in your last box. What is the future interest that matches up with the fee simple subject to condition subsequent?
The right of entry in fee simple.
Very good. Okay, it's called the right of entry. Sometimes you call it the right of re-entry or the power of termination. There's many different ways to describe the same thing. But it's called the right of entry. Is this one automatic, David?
No.
Okay, excellent. All right. Thank you. Thank you, sir. Very good. All right. That took 30 minutes to do a chart we've already done 3 or 4 times before. I mean this sincerely. If you're not able to do this from memory, you're in trouble, right? This needs to be automatic. No pun intended. It just has to be completely automatic. You have to not even be able to think about it. There are only 4, like what we do, 4 rows. We'll have more rows after next class. By the way, we won't get to executory interest today. I'll just finish the contingent investor remainders today. We'll do executory interest on the makeup class tomorrow. And just so you know, the class tomorrow, what did I say? It was a 3. What time did I say? 3:15. That's what I said, right? 3:15. Yeah. Wait, did I say 3:15? 3:30. I can't remember what I said.
I wrote down 3:15, but
You know what? You know what? My other class. Mind if we did 3:20? Would anyone mind? Because my other class is not finished till 3:05, and I just wanted a little bit more time. So let's just go 3:20. So a little bit of a break. If you come here at 3:15, I'll let you wait, but we'll say call it 3:20. I have to move my other class around a little bit. I'll update the syllabus also. So from 3:20 till 4:35. All right, thank you guys. All righty. Questions? Yes, Araya, go ahead.
For your exam, will you use the term right of re-entry, or should we learn the power of termination as well?
I usually say right of entry, right of re-entry, but you need to know all of them.
So what were the other 2? It was power of termination, right of re-entry, and right of entry.
Yeah, right of entry, right of re-entry, and power of termination. You'll see it all through. I usually say right of entry, right of re-entry. But I don't think I've ever used power of termination, but yeah, know them all. Good question. All right. Any more questions on the chart? We are donezo with this chart at this point. No more, no mas. We're done. The reason why is we now have contingent remainders, we have vested remainders, and this chart falls apart very quickly. Trying to fit contingent and vested in this chart makes no sense. So we're done with this chart. It's gotten you so far. It helps you along. It's a crutch, but we're kicking out the crutch. All right. I want to go on today to the topic of vested and contingent remainders. And by the way, I put together a summary, which I'm going to do more of these. This is just a contingent and vested remainders. I need to do one on the fee simple determinables and the fee simple subject condition subsequents. I haven't done it quite yet, but it's on my list of things to do. But this is something useful to read after class. You know, I'm giving a lot of homework, but after class, try to fill in the chart from memory. I would read over this document and also take 90 minutes for a sample midterm. It can be a lot to do, but this will put you on the right path. All right, let's do some questions. And the first question for you is on the class notes. Here we go. Okay, let's try question number 1, which is it's not a trick question, I promise. There'll be follow-up questions, but this is not a trick. Question number 1. Okay, short answer. from O to A for life, comma, then to B and his heirs. What interest does B have? I think Alyssa is next. All right. Alyssa, you here? Oh, you're here. You called on you earlier.
Yes, I'm here.
Okay, no, I know. I called on you earlier. Okay. So let's just go one step at a time. From O to A for life, comma. What does A have?
A life estate.
Okay, very good. Comma, then to B and his heirs. What does B have?
So I put he has a remainder in fee simple.
Okay, that's right. Now, Alyssa, is B's remainder certain to happen?
Yes.
Is there any situation in which B does not get Blackacre?
No, I don't think so.
What if B dies before A? Dead people can't inherit property. What happens if B dies first?
Then it would go to his heirs.
Right. So let's just say A's still alive, he's doing well, and then B dies. What happens to B's future interest at that point?
It becomes his heirs.
Right. The heirs inherit the remainder, right? Okay. So just to be clear, after A's death, this future interest is going to either B or B's heirs. Is that 100% correct? What always going to happen?
Unless he doesn't have any heirs.
Everyone has heirs. Please don't give that answer. That's always me the wrong answer. If you ever, just please, for your exam on Wednesday, if you're even inclined to say that a person has no heirs, you're wrong. That's not the answer. Okay, so let's try it again. Is there any circumstance in which B or his heirs does not get it?
No.
Okay. So thanks, Alyssa. We say that B's remainder is vested. The word vested is complicated, but it means it's certain to happen. That's just a high level way of describing. It's going to happen, right? We know exactly what's going to happen. The law likes certainty and dislikes uncertainty, right? The law does not like uncertainty, right? The law likes to be simple, that when A dies, we know where it's going. It's either going to B or B's heirs. There's no funny business. There's no complications. It's very straightforward, okay? We say that B's remainder is vested. So Lavi put remainder in fee simple. That's not wrong, but after today's class, you need to start thinking a little bit more precisely. We'll explain what makes it vested in a few minutes. I'm not quite there yet, but it's a remainder in fee simple. Okay. All right, let's look at question number 1B. Question number 1B. Let's try this one. This will be for, I think, no, Javon was here last week, I think for Joseph. Oh, no, Javon emailed me because he's not here today, but he emailed me. Okay. All right. Question 1B. From O to A for life, comma, then to B and his heirs if B graduates law school before A dies. What interest does B have? Okay. Joseph, you here?
Hey there, I'm here.
All right. Let's take this one step at a time. So from O to A for life, what does A have?
So here A has a life estate.
Okay. Is there any fee simple in this question?
O had it to start, but
Okay.
he's starting to give those sticks away.
Okay, very good. Okay, so from O to A for life, A is a life estate. Comma, then to B and his heirs. Let's say I had a period right there. From O to A for life, comma, then to B and his heirs. If I stop it right there, what does B have?
So if you stopped right there, then B just has a remainder in life estate.
Remainder in what?
Or sorry, a remainder in fee simple.
Better. Okay. So if I stop right there, B from O to A for life, A is a life estate. I know what you meant. And then B and his heirs, B has a remainder in fee simple, right? But I don't stop there. It says then to B and his heirs if B graduates law school before A dies. What's going on there? Just in plain English, just describe it, in human beings, not talking to a lawyer. What does that mean right there?
So something has to happen before he can. This is like the precedent, I think, basically.
Good. Condition precedent. What's a condition precedent?
So the example that you gave with the allowance in your daughter, this is the not so smart choice to have to do something before you get the money.
Do the dishes and you get paid.
Right.
What does B have to do here to inherit Blackacre?
Before A dies, he has to graduate law school.
And what happens if he flunks out before A dies?
Then he hasn't met that condition precedent.
Right? What happens if, poor B's in his final semester of law school about to take his last exam and A drops dead?
Well, then you don't even have to worry about the condition because A's dead.
And has the condition been satisfied?
No.
So what happens to Blackacre at that point?
So then does that go back to A? Or, sorry, back to O?
Yeah, A's dead. What do you call it when it goes back to O?
A reverter?
Not reverter. See what you did?
Okay, so reversion.
Excellent. Very good. Thank you, Joseph. Very good answer. All right, I want to just break down. I think you gave me all right answers there. That's very good. Okay. From O to A for life, that means A's life estate. Comma, then to B and his heirs. That tells us B has a remainder. But we now have to ask what kind of remainder he has. So we have this condition. It's a condition precedent, right? Before B gets his remainder, he needs to do something. He needs to finish law school. And he has a period of time to complete it, which is while A is still alive. We don't know when A is going to die. None of us know when we're going to die. None of us do. I don't think I know. Right? It's a morbid thought. But there's this condition that comes before he gets the remainder. If he flunks out of law school and A is dead, then it goes back to O. Right? So you have a life estate followed by a remainder, followed by a reversion? Is that right? How can you have a reversion after a remainder? Because this remainder is not certain to happen. We call it a contingent remainder. B has a contingent remainder in fee simple. Why is it contingent? Because there's this condition precedent, right? He may get it if he finishes law school, or he will not get it if he flunks out, right? If a remainder has this condition precedent, then it's a contingent remainder. Let me say it one more time. If a remainder has a condition precedent, then the remainder is contingent. It's a contingent remainder, right? It's still a remainder, and it's still in fee simple, but it's a contingent remainder in fee simple. Questions? I see Lacey and Alexander. Go ahead. Actually, Alexander's up first. The thing got flipped to my screen. Yeah, Alexander, go for it, please. You're in the classroom. I know. Go for it. Okay, thank you.
Would we spring that answer to where it's like contingent remainder in fee simple subject to a condition precedent?
Okay, you can do that, but there's a risk, and I'll tell you the risk in a second, right? If you want to say it's remainder in fee simple subject to a condition precedent, you're absolutely welcome to say it. But here's the risk. You may say a contingent remainder in fee simple. I'm sorry, you may say a contingent remainder subject condition subsequent. You may slip. Right? You see what I'm saying, right? Like, if you want to say that, you have to say it right. I don't require you to, but if you try and do that extra step, you get it wrong, I'll take off points. So just be very careful. So let me just repeat Alexander's question. Maybe you didn't hear it, right? It's a contingent remainder in fee simple. But he said, can I say a contingent remainder subject to a condition precedent? Absolutely. Absolutely. 100% correct, right? But if you flip it and you say condition subsequent instead of condition precedent, you're wrong. Because there's no such thing as a fee simple. I did it. There's no such thing as a contingent remainder subject to a condition subsequent. That's not a thing. That's made up. So just be careful. Now I'm looking at your answers in the poll. A number of you actually put, one of you actually put a remainder in fee simple subject to condition subsequent, which is exactly what Alexander was asking not to do, right? So just be careful. Now, some of you for number 1B put, right? Some of you for number 1B put a fee simple subject to condition subsequent, right? Why? Why did you put for 1B a fee simple subject condition subsequent? Because you saw the word if, right? You saw the word if, and then you're like, oh, whatever, if. Wrong. You have to look at what the present interest is. There is no fee simple here. There is no condition subsequent here. You cannot have a fee simple subject condition subsequent without a fee simple and without a condition subsequent. You have a life estate followed by a remainder with a condition precedent. This is why you need to distinguish precedent versus subsequent. If you just go by the word if, you're going to screw up. Alyssa, go ahead.
So the one that I did right before, that would have been a vested remainder in fee simple then, because it
Yes, it was. Yep.
Happened.
Yep.
Okay.
Number 1A is a vested remainder in fee simple. I think I said that, but that's right.
Okay, thanks.
Be careful. Let's do 1C, everybody. 1C. Promoted B and his heirs, comma. But if B fails to graduate law school before A dies, O has right of entry. And this is going to be a thing for, oh no, Odalis was here last week, so she's passed. Michael, you here? Michael D? Oh yeah, you're in the classroom. Okay. Another 10 seconds or so, sir. What interest does B have here, my friends? You guys got to do quicker. We're already at 45 seconds. I can't. I give 5 more seconds to get your answers in. It should not be taking a minute, otherwise we'll never finish the class. All right, I'm stopping it here. All right, Michael D. What is your answer here? What interest does B have?
B has a vested remainder in fee simple subject to divestment.
No. Let's start one at a time. First off, does B have a present interest or a future interest?
He has a present interest.
Present interest. Is a remainder a present interest or a future interest?
It's a future interest.
So how can B have a remainder if he has a present interest? You see what happened here, right? I can't see you, Michael, but are you nodding?
I'm thinking. Yeah, it's a little confusing.
Okay, let's walk through it. If you're confused, half the class is confused. It's never think you're alone, right? Because no matter what you're thinking, there's 20 other people with the same question. So just never think you're alone in law school, right? The brain works in a fairly similar fashion. I know the exact points people get confused. It's been experience. All right. So Michael, from O to B and his heirs, comma, right? What if I put a period there? From O to B and his heirs, period. What would B have?
Be simple.
A fee simple. Now, is this a fee simple absolute?
If it's just a period from O to B and his heirs.
Yeah, but I don't have a period. What punctuation mark do I have?
Comma.
Comma. What comes after the comma?
But if B
Okay, stop right there. But if. What do we call it when the phrase "but if" appears after a fee simple?
a condition subsequent.
Okay, so what's the present interest that B has here? What's the present interest that B has here? Look at your chart.
They have a simple to a condition subsequent.
I think you stumbled over a word or two. What's the phrase?
Be simple to a condition subsequent.
You're missing a word. Fee simple blank to a condition subsequent. What's that word? You're missing a word in your notes.
Be simple subject to a condition subsequent.
Okay, you have that word in your notes, subject?
Yes, I do now.
Okay, good. That's why you can't take shortcuts, right? So Michael, B has a fee simple subject to a condition subsequent, right?
Yes.
What do you call the future interest after a fee simple subject to a condition subsequent?
Either right of entry, right of entry, or power of termination.
Okay, good. Who has the right of entry here?
No,
How do we know that?
that says it.
Yeah, it says it. Okay, good. So we have here B has a fee simple subject to condition subsequent. Now, Michael, I want you to tell me, why does B not have a remainder?
Because they have a present, because they have a present interest.
Right. And what's our definition of remainder?
Future interest.
That follows.
A future interest that follows. A future interest that follows a life estate.
Good. And goes to a?
And goes to the transferee.
No, not the transferee. Goes back to the.
Oh, transfer.
Goes back to the what? I didn't hear you.
The transfer.
Or. OR. Is that what you said?
Yeah.
Okay, good. Very good. Okay, thanks, Mike. You're done. All right. I want you now to put in your notes to contrast 1B and 1C. Look how similar they are. Right? They both use the word if. You see that? 1B and 1C both use the word if. I can give you a trap that half of you will walk into and get your foot stuck. Right? You cannot just see the word if and say, oh, good, Blackman, I got this fee simple subject condition subsequent. Oh, I'm done. No. You need to look at what is the present interest and what is the future interest. In 1B, you have a life estate for present, and following a life estate, it's a remainder. Therefore, you know it's a contingent remainder. There's a condition precedent. The condition comes before you get it. In 1C, the present interest is not life estate. It's fee simple. But it's not fee simple absolute. It's a fee simple subject to a condition subsequent. Condition that comes after the fee simple. And he uses the word but if, but that's, you can do that. That's fine. It's a condition subsequent. And it spells out the O as right of entry. Now I'm looking at my poll. About 70% of you got this one right. A fee simple subject, condition subsequent. That's good. But the other third of you put it was a remainder. Which is not right. Remainders, again, follow the natural termination of a life estate. Here, this is like my daughter who gets the allowance first and has to do her chores, right? She might lose it, right? B's interest might be cut short. Now, I think Michael may have said a vested remainder subject to divestment. I think I heard that. That's the right idea because B's interest can be cut short. But we say it's subject to condition subsequent, right? O goes to court, files a lawsuit, and he can terminate B's estate, B's present interest. Ooh, messy. Messy. You don't like this one, do you? You can't just use the magic words. That's why the table becomes very unhelpful. It almost becomes harmful, but you still have to know it. You have to know it enough to know where it doesn't apply. Yeah, the but if will kill you. On half of my exams, these word if somewhere in a conveyance and just throws everyone off. All right. Everyone with me? All right. So we discussed one way to know if a remainder is contingent is if there's a condition precedent. That's test number one. There's a second way to know if remainder is contingent. It's if the remainderman, that is the person holding the remainder, is ascertained. Ascertained is just a big word that means identified. Is a person alive? Are they named? Do we know who they are? Josh, Susie, Joe, right? If a person's ascertained and they're named, then we know who they are. What if a person's not ascertained? We know who they are. It's an unknown person, or a person not even conceived, not born, not conceived. A person who's non-ascertained, right, will have a contingent remainder. Again, if a remainder is given to a person who's not ascertained, that remainder will be contingent. So this is a weird situation where to determine if a remainder is contingent, we have to look at, are they alive? Are they born? Right? We have to look at facts outside the conveyance. The conveyance won't tell us if a person's born or alive. Maybe it will, but it doesn't have to. So guys, take a look at question number 2. Realize we're almost done with class. We've done 3 questions today. Grayson, after the question, okay? Question number 2. And this will be for Emma. To A for life, comma. That's to B's children. And I'm telling you, B has no children. What interest does B children have? All right, another 10 seconds. I'll call on Emma. All right, Emma, are you here?
Yes.
All right, so let's go one step at a time here, Emma. To A for life, what does A have?
Life estate.
Okay, very good. Comma, then. What does the comma then tell us?
After A's life, the interest is being transferred.
What do we call that in general when you have a life estate and the interest goes to some third party?
A remainder.
All right, so we have remainder. But I'm telling you that B's children don't exist. B has no kids. She's not even pregnant. She has no kids, right? How can people who aren't even conceived, right, have a future interest? How is this possible?
You can have a contingent remainder. So even if a person is non-ascertainable, the interest can still be placed in them.
Okay, very good. We have here, one second, I'll come back to you in a second. We have here a class, right? Called a class gift, CLASS, a class gift. Property law allows you to leave gifts to a class, right? Let's say, when a husband and wife get married, the husband writes a conveyance, I will leave my property to all my children, right? They don't have any children yet. But he knows at some point, God willing, they'll have kids, right? That way he wants to rewrite his will every couple of years. So you can leave a remainder to a class of people in which there are 0 people in that class. It's basically an empty set, an empty class, right? So it says to A for life and to B's children. B has no kids at this point. That's fine. There's a contingent remainder. Now, Emma, what happens if B dies without children? What happens upon A's death?
Then the interest would go back to the grantor.
That's right. Oh, what do we call that interest?
That would be a fee simple when it goes back.
But what do we call it in the present before it goes back?
Let's see, it would be that'd be a possibility of reversion.
Oh, you said it. You said it. There's no such thing. There is no such thing as a possible reversion. You want to say it. It's just you want to say it. What do you call a future interest that goes back to the grantor after a life estate?
A future interest that goes back to the grantor after a life.
Yeah,
estate.
after A dies. What do you call that? Simplest term. Not a possibly reversion.
Would that just be a reverter?
That's not a thing either. You did the other thing I was supposed to do. There's no reverter. Trust me, you're not alone. There's 20 people saying the same thing in their head.
Okay.
Right? Go back to your chart. What do you call a life estate? What do you call the future interest after life estate that goes back to the grantor?
It goes back to the grantor.
Just go first row of your chart or second row of your chart.
Second row is a life estate.
And what do you call the future interest that goes after a life estate that goes back to the grantor?
A remainder?
No, that's for a third party. You're almost you're running out of things to pick. I think you have one left. What do you call a future interest after life estate that goes back to the grantor? It's not a remainder. It's the other one.
Well, for life estate, there's reversion and remainder.
It's reversion.
Okay.
All right. Thank you, Emma. Let me clear up a bit. All right. So you said the 3 things I hope you didn't say, but I'm glad you did because it sets it's a good teaching moment, as we say. The definition of reversion hasn't changed, right? A reversion is a future interest after life estate that goes back to the grantor. But the reason why Emma got tripped up is that you don't want to call this reversion because it's not certain to happen. Because if B has children, O gets nothing. If B has kids, O has nothing. But if B dies without children, O gets it back, right? So you want to say, and that's what Emma said, a possibility of reversion. That's what you want to say. Or you might want to say contingent reversion. Those are not things. There is no possibility of reversion. There is no contingent reversion. There's only reversion. One word. Even if the reversion is not certain to happen, it's still called reversion. So on the exam, if you find yourself writing a possibility of reversion or contingent reversion, you're wrong. That's not a thing. If you say possibility reverter, you're wrong. That's not what this is. The possibly reverter fits with the fee simple determinable. Okay. The answer here, A is a life estate. B's children have a contingent remainder in fee simple. Okay. Now, some of you wrote that B's children have nothing. That's not correct. B's children, even though they're not born, have a contingent remainder. Somebody wrote a contingent remainder subject to open. That's wrong. There's no such thing. We'll do in a few minutes a vested remainder subject to open, but there is no contingent remainder subject to open. Some of you put a remainder in life estate. That's not correct. It's remainder in fee simple. Once A dies with children, B's kids get it in fee simple. They might have to share it, but it's not a life estate. Okay. Again, A has a life estate, B has contingent remainder in fee simple, O has reversion. Never forget, if you have a contingent remainder, something must come after it. It can't just end there. There has to be something else after it, right? You have to have something that cleans up the excess, because we have to consider what happens if if B dies without kids. Because if B dies without kids, it's got to go somewhere. Lance, go ahead. Oh, you're in the classroom. I'm sorry. Yes, go ahead. Thank you for the waving.
Contingent remainder fee simple, like it says it was wrong. Is that wrong?
I'm sorry. I didn't just repeat what you just said. It was a little blurry.
Contingent remainder and fee simple, and it said that was wrong.
That's right. Did you misspell it?
No.
All right. Well, I don't grade them in real time always, so it's a little tricky to grade 20 different answers in real time. But contingent remainder and fee simple is correct. Yeah, I often after class go back and I check all the answers. I'm doing this, I'm teaching as I'm going, so I can't always grade them as well as I would like to. All right. Again, so there's two ways of deciding if remainder's contingent. One, if it's subject to a condition precedent, or two, if the parties aren't ascertained. Oh, Grayson, I forgot about you. I'm sorry. Go ahead.
Oh, that's okay. So I went back and watched some of your YouTube videos of previous lectures and saw that you kind of started with vested.
I flipped it this year. Yep. Yeah.
Okay, and that's what I'm asking. Does that, for our analysis, how should we go about that?
Well, I'm doing now. I like this better.
Okay.
I change things up every year. I try to see what makes more sense to me. Now let's do vested, because Grayson asked. Oh, Garrett, go ahead.
Is the proper term, is it non-ascertained or unascertained? Does it really matter?
I've seen both. I say unascertained, but
Okay.
I've seen both of them.
Yes, sir.
Good question. All right, let's do the next one. So again, there are two ways to have a two ways to have a contingent remainder. Path number one, if there is a condition precedent. Path number two, if the party is unascertained. Maybe both of them, right? Maybe there's a condition precedent to an unascertained person. That's contingent remainder. Easy. But what if it's the opposite? What if there's no condition precedent? And what if the party is ascertained? Right? There's no condition precedent and the parties are all ascertained. Go back to Alyssa's question from 20 minutes ago, right? 1A. In question 1A, it's from O to A for life, comma, that the B and his heirs. There's no condition precedent, and B is ascertained. This is a vested remainder in fee simple, right? When both of those statements are true, there are no condition precedents, and the parties are ascertained, you have a vested remainder, right? Grace, the reason why I flipped it is it actually makes, in my mind, makes more sense to do vested after explaining what it's not, right? It's easier to explain what something's not than what it is, and the not should come first. Anyway, that's why I flipped it, but maybe I'm wrong. I don't know. I often read this book. I'm like, what the hell are they talking about? I try to put myself in the shoes of a one who doesn't know what any of this stuff is, and that's why I try to teach. All right. So let's take a look at question number 3 then. Okay, question number 3. We're running a little bit short on time, but we'll finish. This will be for Lacey. Question number 3. O conveys to A for life, then to A's children and their heirs. Aha. But here you learn that A has one child, B. Oh, that's a typo. It should be, it says B's children. It should be A's children. I'm sorry. That's a typo. So the question should be, what interests do A's children have? Not B's children, A's children. No one in the other section noticed that, but well, I just noticed it now. I apologize. So just ignore the type on your screen. What interest do A's children have? All right, Lacey here.
I am here. I was also here for the last.
Oh, you were? Okay, then you get a pass, so that's very good. Sandra, were you here last week?
No, I wasn't.
Okay, so Sandra, you're up. Okay. Let's do one step at a time. O conveys to A for life. What does A have?
A has a life estate.
Very good. Comma. Then to A's children and their heirs. What do the A's children have? What type of future interest?
They're gonna have a fee simple.
Will they?
Maybe not.
What do you call the future interest after a life estate?
The remainder,
How do you know it's a remainder?
because it's coming after the life estate.
Okay. So A's children have a remainder. Is this remainder contingent or vested?
It would be vested.
Why?
Because they are ascertained.
Well, there are two criteria, right?
Right.
What are the two criteria?
Either they're ascertained or unascertained.
Not or. Not or.
And
Not or, and. What are the two criteria? Try it again.
ascertained
One.
and conditional.
No. Be very precise. Condition number one. Are all the parties ascertained?
They are, yes, yeah, they are.
Who's ascertained here?
The children,
Who are their children? Are there several children? Are there multiple children?
the B,
Yeah, but we don't know. Maybe B might have brothers and sisters later. Are the unborn brothers and sisters ascertained?
the unborn ones, I believe, are.
Not even conceived. That maybe mom wants to have a kid next year. Are they ascertained?
Okay, they're not.
So is this vested or contingent?
I would say it's vested.
You're sticking to your guns. Okay. Why is it vested? Why? Or let me ask the question more precisely. Why is this class of remainders ascertained?
Because they're not identified.
Are they ascertained here, Sandra?
I believe they are.
Does it matter that other children can be born into this class?
No.
So what does ascertained mean? What is it? What's required to be ascertained here?
They have to be unidentified.
What does ascertained mean? Put your hand down.
I'm not really sure.
Well, look at your notes. What does ascertained mean? We discussed it a few minutes ago. If you need to leave, that's fine, but I want to wrap this one up.
Named?
Named. Are there any named children here?
No.
No? We don't know the names of any children?
There's like a B, but is that a name?
It's a name.
Okay. Then yes.
Okay. So is this class ascertained, Sandra?
Yes.
Okay, very good. You're done. Okay. So the trick here is you need at least one ascertained person in the class. It could be more than one. But if you have at least one person who's alive and well and kicking that we know about, then it's a then the class is ascertained. Hence, I'll get to you guys in a second, I promise. The second condition, the second criteria, are there any condition precedents? The answer here is no, right? Immediately after the life estate, the interest goes to B's children if there are any, okay? but there's no condition in the grant. You don't see the word if anywhere. There's no conditional statement, right? Now, B's children would have a vested remainder. But what if more kids come into the picture? We say that B has a B's children have a vested remainder that's subject to open. B's children have a vested remainder that's subject to open, also called a vested remainder subject to partial divestment, right? A vested remainder subject to open, or a vested remainder subject to partial divestment. What that means is B's alive. He's going to inherit something one day. Doesn't know when, but he'll inherit something one day. And the only question is, does he have to share it with his brothers and sisters or not? Right? We have to share it with his brothers and sisters or not? Somewhere my brain hurts. I hear you. This is a vested remainder subject to open. Now, a couple of you wrote a contingent remainder subject to open. That's not a thing. There's no such thing. Get it out of your mind, right? It's vested remainder subject to open. Vested remainder here is not good enough. You tell me it's subject to open because the class may be expanded. All right. I'm 1 minute over. I'm going to start the minute poll. I know Grayson, I know Alyssa had her hand up, and I think someone else I shoot away, but I want to finish. Grayson, go ahead.
So for the makeup class tomorrow,
Yeah.
If we're unable to make it, do the same protocols.
Yeah, I mean, I really would like you to watch before the midterm, so just watch it tomorrow. I'm sorry. It's a short time frame, but if you don't watch this class before the midterm, you'll be unprepared. That's the short answer. So the weather screwed this up. We were supposed to finish this topic last week, but I have to, because of the weather. Yeah, Alyssa, go ahead.
You answered my question.
Good. Anyone else? Jeanette?
Should we be adding these other types of remainders to the chart we already
I would bury the chart and let it go in love. We're done with it.
Okay.
If you can try to expand it, but it's going to get so messy, and after class tomorrow, it's going to just blow up. So I
kind of tried, but I thought it was confusing. So
that's why I'm telling you, let it go with love. Be able to fill it up till today's class, but after today, just let it go. That's it. It was a good chart. We had moments with it, but it's time to let it go. Say goodbye. It's not you, it's me. Chart, right? Luis, then Alexandra. Luis, go ahead.
Oh, me first? Oh,
yeah.
Okay.
Oh, I'm sorry. Did I flip it? Oh, you're right. Actually, Alexandra first. The Q sometimes flips my screen.
Oh, I was just asking, it's actually kind of like a more general question.
Sure.
Just for confirmation, the passes weren't just for this lecture when you be mentally prepared to recite.
I didn't think that far ahead, but if I call on you tomorrow, that's fine.
Okay, thank you.
Luis?
Yes, so from now on, when we're like dealing with this problem that includes a vested remainder, kind of like the fee simple, like it has to be something more added to the back.
You're not done. Yeah, if you just say vested remainder, you're not done yet. It's a vested remainder
Okay, so-
in fee simple subject to open, or subject to open fee simple. It's either way, but you need to do the subject to open part. Otherwise, I don't know that you understand the full extent of it.
Okay, and then the subject to open part I have here occurs when the class of people can be expanded.
Yeah, other children come into the class. Exactly right.
Okay, so there's never going to be a vested remainder blank. It's always
No.
going to be separate.
A vested remainder, for example, question number 1A. This was Alyssa's question an hour ago. That's a vested remainder, period. The book describes it as a vested remainder that's indefeasibly vested. I hate that phrase. It's just awful, but a vested remainder, period, will be enough.
Okay,
Thanks, Luis. All right, anybody else? Yeah, Garrett.
Yes, sir. I just want to make sure I have the answer number 3 correct. So vested remainder in fee simple, that is subject to open.
Yeah, you can say it. You can flip it. You can say vested remainder subject to open in fee simple. That's right. Also,
yes, sir.
Lawyers are not always precise the way they sequence things.
Yes, sir. Thank you.
All right. Who else? Are we done? Are we done? I think we're done. All right, everybody. I'll see you tomorrow. Please try to fill in the table from memory. Try to take an old midterm, and be ready for executory interests. All right. Bye-bye.